The murder of Olivia Pratt Korbel, a 9-year-old girl from Liverpool, England, is a heartbreaking event that shocked the nation in August 2022. Her tragic death serves as a grim reminder of the violence that can infiltrate even the most unsuspecting corners of society, claiming the lives of the innocent. Olivia's death in the safety of her own home highlights the stark realities of crime and its devastating impact on families and communities. So sit down, grab yourself a mocha as we unravel the case of Olivia Pratt Korbel. Olivia Pratt Korbel was a bright, joyful 9-year-old girl whose life was tragically cut short on August 22, 2022, in a senseless act of violence that shocked the United Kingdom. Born and raised in Liverpool, Olivia was the youngest child in her family and lived with her mother, Cheryl Korbel, in the Dovecourt area of the city. Her story is one of innocence and the devastating impact of violent crime on the most vulnerable members of society. Olivia was part of a close-knit family and was deeply loved by those around her. She had 2 older siblings, a brother and a sister, with whom she shared a strong bond. The Korbel family was well known in their community, and Olivia was often described as a happy, lively child who brought joy to everyone she met. Her mother, Cheryl, was a devoted parent, dedicating to providing Olivia with a nurturing and supportive environment. On the evening of August 22, 2022, Olivia was at home with her mother, Cheryl Korbel. What should have been a normal night quickly turned into a nightmare when Joseph Nee, a 35-year-old convicted burglar, forced his way into their home while fleeing from a gunman. The door was partially open, and when Olivia's mother tried to close it to keep Nee out, the gunman fired shots into the house. Tragically, one of the bullets hit Olivia, who was standing behind her mother. The innocent child, caught in the crossfire of a violent altercation between 2 criminals, succumbed to her injuries shortly after being rushed to the hospital. The investigation into Olivia's murder was extensive and complex. Authorities were under immense pressure to bring the perpetrators to justice, given the public outcry and the nature of the crime.
I'm going to hand you over to Chief Constable Serena Kennedy and Detective Chief Superintendent Mark Cameen, who's our Head of Investigations.
Good afternoon. A 9-year-old girl, who we can name today as Olivia Pratt Korbel, has died following a shooting in Dovecourt last night, Monday, the 22nd of August. And her family are absolutely devastated, inconsolable and heartbroken. I know that the murder of Olivia has rocked our communities, who are quite rightly upset and outraged that such an abhorrent crime has occurred here on the streets of Merseyside. The people of Liverpool and Merseyside are known for their compassion and pulling together in times of crisis. And I know that our communities, people are wanting to help the family in any way possible. This is not the time for anyone who knows who is responsible for this shooting to remain tight-lipped. It is time for our communities to come together with us and make Merseyside a place where the use of guns on our streets is totally unacceptable, and those who use them are held to account. Our thoughts and condolences are with Olivia's family, who have been torn apart. No mum, no dad, no sister or brother should ever have to experience loss in this way. Poignantly, Olivia was killed on the 15th anniversary of the murder of Rhys Jones. His murder should have been a watershed moment in the battle against gun crime and the use of guns on our streets. But shockingly, there are still callous criminals who are prepared to use weapons on our streets and have utter disregard for the heartache and the pain that they have caused to Olivia's family. Olivia's family are the 3rd family who've lost a loved one in the past week through gun crime. following the tragic murders of Sam River and Ashley Dale. Our thoughts very much remain with their families, and the investigations continue into their murders.
Thomas Cashman, the gunman responsible for Olivia's death, was eventually arrested and charged with her murder.
Dad! I'm on! Show your on! Get your hands behind your head!
My hands are in the air.
What's your leg, fella?
I've got nothing on me.
Put your hands behind your head.
Okay, there you go.
Stay where you are. Do exactly what you've told. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Nice one. Come here. Put them in the small of your back. Don't worry about it. You're supposed to minute. Just do exactly what you've told.
Whatever it is.
What's it for? For one. What have I done? What have I done?
Tell you now.
Go on.
Put your knees up to your chest. Put your knees up to your chest. Sit on your... Stand up. What have I done? Go on. You said you'll tell. I'm not resisting. I ain't resisting one little bit. I just want to know what I've done. That's all. All I want to know is what I'm arrested for. Tell me what I'm arrested for. Okay.
You're under arrest on suspicion of murder and a suspicion of attempt murder twice. Alright, you do not have to say anything. But in my own defence, you don't mention my question. Something which you may later line in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Alright, you've been arrested for the prompt and effective investigation of the offence. Okay? Okay?
Yeah,
you need to be interviewed about it.
No offence. I haven't committed no offence what you're talking about.
Alright. Lift them up a little minute.
None whatsoever. Got nothing on me. Just pull my pants down, you'll see there's nothing here. Saves all the messing around.
John, what's happening is the other lad's getting dealt with, and then we'll get you up, okay? Just remind where you are.
You mad. You people. I ain't resisting.
As what?
I'm not resisting one little bit. I'm calm. But to you, I don't seem a little bit too calm.
Thomas Cashman was born and raised in the Liverpool area, where he became familiar with the local criminal scene from a young age. Little is known about his early childhood, but like many others who become involved in crime, it is likely that he was exposed to a difficult environment. Liverpool has long struggled with socio-economic challenges, including high levels of poverty and unemployment, which have contributed to the rise of gang-related activities and organised crime. Cashman was heavily involved in the drug trade, which is a major issue in Liverpool. The city, known for its vibrant culture and history, has also been a hub for drug trafficking, with organised crime groups controlling large portions of the illicit market. Cashman operated within this shadowy world, reportedly making significant profits from the sale and distribution of drugs. His criminal activities were not small time. He was part of a network that moved large quantities of narcotics, particularly cannabis, around the region. Within the criminal underworld, Cashman was known as a fixer and enforcer, someone who was called upon to deal with problems, often through violent means. His reputation for ruthlessness made him a feared figure among his peers. The violent nature of his work, combined with his access to firearms, made him a dangerous individual capable of causing serious harm to those who crossed him. The events that led to the murder of Olivia Pratt Korbel were rooted in this violent lifestyle. On the night of the murder, Cashman was pursuing Joseph Nee, a convicted burglar and fellow criminal. Nee was likely targeted due to a dispute within the criminal network, possibly related to drug dealings or personal grudges. Cashman, armed with a handgun, chased Nee through the streets of Dovecot, Liverpool. In a desperate attempt to escape, Nee ran towards Olivia's house, where he forced his way in, leading to the fatal encounter. Cashman's decision to fire indiscriminately into the house, where Olivia and her mother were attempting to protect themselves, demonstrates his disregard for human life. The fact that he did so in a residential area, endangering not just his target but anyone in the vicinity, speaks to the brazen and reckless nature of his criminal behaviour.
So just confirm for me your full name and your date of birth.
Cheryl Margaret Korbel, 18th of 4th, 76.
Thanks, Cheryl. When you're ready, tell me about Monday evening. Tell me what happened.
I'd lived with going upstairs to watch a bit of telly before getting ready for bed.
She'd been and got washed. She said goodnight to the girls and myself. But it was warm. She come back down because she was too hot. And then it must have been about 10:45. We heard, weren't sure whether it was fireworks or gunshot. I jumped up and went outside. And as I looked down the street to my left, I just seen one fella running up towards me. I realised at that point that it was gunshots because it looked like the other one was running after him. So I ran back in the house and then I heard him saying, "Please lad, don't." And I shut the door quick. He was trying to push it open and I tried my best to keep it shut until it got shut. I realised that must have been when she was hit. I was just screaming, "Please, Liv, stay with me."
Thomas Cashman was arrested on September 4th, 2022, following a 2-week manhunt. He was charged with the murder of Olivia Pratt Korbel, the attempted murder of Joseph Nee, and wounding with intent to cause grievous bodily harm to Cheryl Korbel. Cashman faced additional charges related to the possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life. He denied all charges, maintaining his innocence throughout the legal proceedings.
I'm just looking right through your face there. I can't even look at you, lad. Just looking through you. What are we waiting for? I'm good to go. I'm ready. I've done nothing wrong at all. I'm good to go. So.
The offence, please.
That's it, no.
And the circumstances.
Inquiries conducted and community information provided to date has identified this male, Thomas Cashman, as being responsible for the murder of Olivia Pratt Korbel and the attempted murder of Cheryl Korbel and Joseph Nee.
It's a load of shit, nothing to do with me. I haven't fucking done anything like that. Committed no offences like what you just said.
I'm reading the circumstances.
Yeah, and I'm just fucking telling you after in my fucking say so, that's a load of shit and it's nothing to do with me and I haven't fucking committed none of them offences.
This interview is being conducted in an interview room, St Anne Street Police Station. You've been arrested on suspicion of murder of Olivia Pratt Korbel, the attempted murders of Cheryl Korbel and Joseph Nee. Can you tell me what your involvement is?
Well, I'm doing a prepared statement here. What I'd like to say is I've got no involvement at all in any of these crimes that you're putting forward towards me. Nothing whatsoever. I live in the area, brought up in the area, but it was reason to be down in the area. I haven't committed no offence, no problem with any of the people you just mentioned. For the rest of the tape, I'm going with no comments. But I'm just stating clear, I have got no involvement in any of the crimes that you are putting forward to me. Any whatsoever, nothing to do with me. So for the rest of this tape, I'm going no comments.
Do you want to help us by telling us where you were then?
No comments.
If you can give us an alibi and tell us where you were, we can check it out. And this would be a relatively swift process then, wouldn't it?
No comments.
I would like to know where you were on Monday, the 22nd of August.
No comments.
Why is it you were waiting for Joseph Nee around King's Heath?
No comments.
Or you weren't there?
No comments.
Are you in disputes with the Nee family?
No comments.
When you were arrested, you said, "You stupid cunts, you are stitching me up just because I've got a little track record." So do you think we're trying to pin this on you because you've been arrested for a serious offence before?
No comments.
Let's get back to Monday, the 22nd of August. Cheryl Korbel states that she was at home at around 10 o'clock. She heard a bang. She has walked down her path and looked left, and she's seen Joseph Nee outside. She then sees male 2, the gunman, running after him. She then runs back into her house and sees Nee following her, trying to get into the house. Do you recall any of this, Thomas?
No comments.
She's trying to hold the door closed. and she hears a shot and feels pain from her hand. She realises she has been shot. Cheryl stated that the gunman must have heard screams, but he still continued to shoot. She is trying to hold the door closed. She hears Olivia shout "Mum," and she uses her own body to shield her from harm. And she hears a shot. She then realises that Olivia is unresponsive, gasping for breath. Her lips are blue, and she's taken off her top and realised that she's been shot in the chest. Is that what happened, Thomas?
No comments.
Are you responsible for the murder of Olivia Pratt Korbel?
No comments.
Please, get down now. Give me your hands. Give me your hands. Give me your hands. Okay.
Males detained.
That's all it. Watch out, these kids in here.
What's your name?
Thomas Cashman, all my name is.
Stand up.
Watch out, these kids in here. These kids in here. My kids are in here, you're coming in like this.
You're under arrest for the murder of 9-year-old Olivia Pratt Korbel on the 22nd of August. You don't have to say anything, but in my own defence, you've not mentioned one question, something you should later on in court.
Okay.
Anything you do say may be given evidence. Do you have any reply to that?
No, don't have no. It wasn't me, like I've said before.
It wasn't me, like I said before.
You've got an innocent.
It wasn't me, like I said before. I've got an innocent man. Sound.
Oh my God, like last time I was there, yeah, you arrested me. What the fuck's any difference from the last time you arrested me? Nothing. I told you last time.
There will be something.
It wasn't me. I'm telling you this time, it wasn't me.
Okay. Don't get yourself under safety.
State on facts, you into the periods. You're a prick, and you're a fucking prick as well.
Okay.
Both of you are fucking assholes. Put that on the camera.
I don't need to, it's recorded.
Yeah, sound. Make sure you go home and fucking play it to yourself and realise you are a fucking asshole.
Okay.
However, the evidence against him was substantial, and the case proceeded to trial. The trial of Thomas Cashman began in March 2023 at Manchester Crown Court. The trial attracted widespread media attention due to the high-profile nature of the case and the tragic circumstances surrounding Olivia's death. During the trial, the prosecution presented a compelling case against Cashman, detailing his involvement in the murder. The evidence against him was significant, including the bullets recovered from the scene matched the firearm that Cashman was known to have access to. Additionally, gunshot residue found on Cashman's clothing linked him to the crime. CCTV footage from various locations in the area helped reconstruct the events leading up to the shooting. This included footage showing Cashman in the vicinity of the crime scene around the time of the murder. Several witnesses testified against Cashman, including individuals from the criminal underworld who were privy to the events of that night. These testimonies were critical in establishing Cashman's motive and actions. Phone data and communications provided a digital trail that supported the prosecution's narrative of Cashman's movements and intentions on the night of the murder. Cashman's defense attempted to cast doubt on the reliability of the witnesses, many of whom had criminal backgrounds themselves, and argued that the evidence was circumstantial. However, the strength of the forensic and digital evidence, combined with the witness testimonies, proved overwhelming. On April 3, 2023, Thomas Cashman was found guilty of all charges, including the murder of Olivia Pratt Korbel. The jury's decision was unanimous, reflecting the strength of the prosecution's case. Cashman was subsequently sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 42 years before being eligible for parole.
Thomas Cashman is to be sentenced today for the murder of Olivia Pratt Korbel, the attempted murder of Joseph Nee, the wounding of Cheryl Korbel with intent, and 2 firearms offences. Mr. Cashman has been brought to court today, but has refused to come from the cells to be sentenced. I have directed that he should do so, but he has maintained his refusal. I am therefore left with no choice but to sentence him in his absence. The killing of Olivia Pratt Korbel is an offence that shocked not only the city of Liverpool, but the nation. Olivia's name is likely to be remembered for many years. She should not be remembered only for her dreadful last moments. Her family have spoken today of Olivia in life and of the hopes and dreams for her future, which were so cruelly snatched away. It is plain that Olivia was a lovely little girl who cared for others and brightened the lives of her family and friends. They have suffered an unimaginable loss, which they must carry for the rest of their lives. Nothing I say or do today will ease that, but they should know that they have my sympathy. The mental scars from that night will persist forever. Cheryl Korbel must also bear the physical scars on her wrist and hand. She must have suffered terrible pain as the bullet passed through her body, but her bravery and strength is obvious. She had fought to keep the trouble outside, and she ignored the pain as she desperately tried to save Olivia. The need for her to receive emergency treatment meant that she could not be with her daughter when she died. Nobody suggests that the defendant intended to kill Olivia or to harm Cheryl. But even if he did not know Olivia was in the firing line, the same cannot be said about Cheryl. She opened her door and stepped outside to see what was happening. She immediately recognised the gravity of the situation and hurried back to get inside and secure her home. It will have been apparent to the defendant that she was not connected with Joseph Nee and was trying to keep him out. He knew, therefore, that a wholly innocent woman was by the door, and yet that is where he chose to take aim. Had he paused to think for one moment, it would have been obvious that this was a family home and that others, perhaps including children, were at risk. The defendant is now aged 34. He is not of previous good character. Any attempt to rely on an absence of any significant history of violence has to be viewed in the context of what he told the jury. He made it quite clear that he was a criminal who used threats and violence when it suited him. Although I will not treat that as aggravation, there is no mitigation to be found in his history. The defendant has not acknowledged his responsibility for Olivia's death and so has demonstrated no remorse. His failure to come into court is perhaps further evidence of that, although I make it clear that this has not caused me to increase his sentence. The defendant is a father, and I accept that being taken away from his children is a loss for him and for them. It is a loss that he is wholly responsible for. There is, in my judgment, no real mitigation available to the defendant. I now pronounce the sentence. On count 1, for the murder of Olivia Pratt Korbel, the sentence will be life imprisonment. The minimum term will be 42 years, less the time the defendant has already spent on remand. On count 2, the attempted murder of Joseph Nee, the sentence is life imprisonment with a minimum term of 22 years. On count 3, wounding Cheryl Korbel with intent to do grievous bodily harm to another, the sentence is 10 years imprisonment. On counts 4 and 5, the firearms offences, the sentence is 18 years imprisonment on each. All those sentences are to be served concurrently, meaning that the shortest period the defendant will be required to serve before he can be considered for early release from the sentence of life imprisonment is 42 years, less the 182 days he has served on remand.
The murder of Olivia Pratt Korbel and the trial of Thomas Cashman had a profound impact on the community and the wider public.
Olivia Pratt Korbel's funeral took place at a church just metres from where she went to school. Her small coffin, watched by heartbroken family and friends, and hundreds of people who didn't know Olivia, but who feel her loss, and who, as her family asked, wore her favourite colour.
It passed my house, and as it passed my house, my heart just sank, there's just no feeling I felt before. You shouldn't really see a coffin that small, really.
Olivia was in the same year as my little grandson Oscar. Just a lovely little girl. It's a waste of a life. It's awful.
This has been a private service for Olivia's family and her friends, but many members of the general public have also come here to listen to the service that's being broadcast on outside speakers, but mainly just to be here to pay their respects to this 9-year-old girl and her family. And that's how they heard the bravest of eulogies delivered by Olivia's mum.
Liv touched so many people's hearts and was loved and adored by everyone. She will never be forgotten. So us and I will never say goodbye, but what I will say is good night, love you, see you in the morning. Mwah.
The case highlighted the devastating consequences of gang violence and gun crime, sparking renewed calls for tougher measures to tackle organised crime in the UK. In response to Olivia's death, there have been increased efforts to address the root causes of violence in communities like Dovecote, with initiatives aimed at providing better support for young people and preventing them from being drawn into criminal activity.
They say there are powerful people on earth. The wealthy.
The leaders. The famous. But what most don't know
is that those with true power
are often forgotten and nameless.
There are people who sit on the mighty chair.
The chair we call the throne.
But the real leaders are those who care, whose power is all their own. The mightiest people of virtue. We're the innocent ones, the children.
We've a freedom that has no curfew.
So the elders say.
We must build them. We all have a voice and abundance of choice.
Our potential has no lack or limit.
The value of laughter that drowns out the noise
cannot be missed out or mimicked.
As the elders have shoulders to stand on,
and words of wisdom to heed.
Some shoulders just need a hand on,
and the home comforts that we all need.
We play in the parks and we play in the streets. We play in our gardens and yards. With so many friends and so many to meet. To us, making friends isn't hard.
Don't be a bad person,
we children say. If you listen, we will play our part.
Because even those who were born today
have wisdom from the very start.
Community is of the people,
of the mind,
the soul, the heart. So treat each other well and be peaceful. Think about it, use your smarts.
Although you may have heavy burdens, as you grow up and grow old,
you can be the change for certain.
And turn the lead into pure gold.
We're one when we let go of fear.
We're one when we all try our best.
We're one when we're true and sincere.
We're one when we all have respect.
From the friends who run local chippies.
To the friends who teach us in school. From office workers to hippies.
To workies who work with their tools.
Street sweepers, hairdressers, barbers and posties.
The volunteers who give their time. The chefs in the carveries roasting our roasties.
And those who protect us from crime.
Life can be tough and fleeting.
The physical won't last forever. but our spirit will shine till the end of all time. So our souls will always live together. We could be family with no enemies. We'll never know if we don't try it.
Let's say it together.
All one and for all.
All one and for all.
It would be perfect. None could deny it. None could deny it.
Let's say it together.
All one and for all. Let's say it together. Say it together.
All one and for all. Say it together.
Together. All one and for all.
And make sure we never deny it.
Olivia's family has also become vocal advocate for stricter gun control laws and more robust policing efforts to prevent such tragedies from occurring in the future. Their courage and resilience in the face of such an unimaginable loss have inspired many, and they continue to honour Olivia's memory by pushing for positive change in their community.
It's the story that shocked the nation. Last August, 9-year-old Olivia Pratt Korbel was fatally shot by Thomas Cashman as he chased a fellow drug dealer into their home in Liverpool.
So Cashman's now been sentenced to life in prison, minimum term of 42 years, but whilst Olivia's family were forced to endure a gruelling 4-week trial, her killer refused to appear at Manchester Crown Court for his sentencing.
As Olivia's mum, Cheryl, now calls for change in the law to force criminals to face their victims' families. Tell us about this Face the Family campaign.
It was originally set up by Sophie Merrick with Radio City, and we were invited to a summit 3 months after it started. I wasn't too sure what it was all about, so I went along, and it's trying to get a change in the law to try and get offenders up into the dock and face the families.
Because it does help with the healing, doesn't it? Something like that to hear, for them to actually hear the impact of what they've actually done would make a massive difference to your healing, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, I realised it made a massive difference to me when I was actually doing the impact statement. It helped me because, as I said, like everything was kept in a jar with a tittering lid. So doing that impact statement, it brought everything out. So it's a form of healing.
Did you know when you were going to court, Cashman was being sentenced, when did you find out that he wasn't going to be there?
The day we got there.
That day, yeah. And did that bother you particularly?
It did, because we'd gone through the whole trial listening to Cashman.
Yeah.
We didn't have a voice all the way through. So the sentence and the impact statements, that was our turn, that was our voices, but we never got it.
I think the strangest thing, the whole of us as a team, when we sat down and we looked at this story yesterday, most of us were surprised that he could opt out of turning up for... Like, we didn't really know that was an option.
Didn't even know they had a choice.
No, we didn't know they had a choice either.
What specifically is it that you'd like to see changed? Do you think it genuinely is just, I was about to say defendants, but people who are found guilty to be... not to be an option for them to have to be there for their own sentencing?
Yeah, they should be there. If it's not in the dock, maybe other alternatives of the room that they're in downstairs.
Yeah.
They should be listening to it. As we've said, prison, it's supposed to be a form of rehabilitation, and that first step should be at the sentencing, listening to the families.
That's such a good way, because I'm thinking, what would you go from it? You're absolutely right. If it is a form of rehabilitation, that surely has got to be the first base step of someone going, because, you know, I was reading that if they refuse to turn up for their own sentencing, they can withhold certain things in prison, can't they? But I mean, that doesn't mean that has no impact on you, does it, on a day-to-day basis? But if you are genuinely remorseful, the first step should surely be to to front up to that.
Cashman was sentenced to at least 42 years in prison, but refused to enter the dock to hear his punishment. Olivia's mum, Cheryl, and aunt Antonia have, since that moment, campaigned tirelessly to see the law changed, to force criminals to be present in court for their sentencing, and they have helped secure a historic change in the legislation.
They're hoping the new legislation will be known as Olivia's Law, and Cheryl and Antonia join us now. I guess it can't do anything to bring Olivia back, but it is an important step forward.
Yeah, it is a really important step forward. It does bring a little bit of comfort knowing that no other family will go through what we've been through.
I know that there are some judges who are very worried about this because they worry about you, the family, and what happens if somebody who's shown no remorse is forced into the court to hear the sentencing and then is abusive, says terrible things. What do you say to people who say that's a reason not to do this?
Well, if they're going to be disruptive, make sure that there's measures in the cells for a screen or a speaker so they can still see and hear what is going on in the courtroom. So although they're not there in the dark, they're still being addressed if you've got circumstances where they are being disruptive.
So it's not necessarily them being there. The important thing is you want them to hear.
Yeah, because in that court process, it's one thing listening to solicitors and barristers saying, how painful it is. It's completely different when it comes from a family member or the victims. It resonates a lot deeper, and if it makes them realise just a tad of what they've done, then yeah.
Antonia, there may be a penalty if they don't appear. Would that also make it better for the family to know there's been an extra punishment if they continue to refuse to be there?
We've discussed this in length, haven't we, as a family, and 24 months sounds a long time, but if you're looking at a really lengthy sentence, 25 plus years, 2 years is neither here nor there. I think if you've got somebody looking at about, anything from 10 to 20, then maybe 2 years does sound quite a bit, but once you've hit that 20-year mark, it's not. I mean, that's what they're suggesting and that's what they're going to be putting forward. And, obviously we have no choice but to agree with that at the moment. Whether or not that's something that we look at campaigning against, if it's not a deterrent, I don't know.
We were speaking earlier to Andrew Pearce from the Daily Mail, who suggested that visiting rights should be denied to those who refuse to come to court in those circumstances. Yeah. Cheryl, would you endorse that?
Yeah, too right. I go and visit my daughter, but all I've got to look at is a stone. They can still see their families.
Case of Olivia Pratt Korbel. Don't forget to subscribe so you are notified on my next true crime case. And like the video if you really did like the video. Also comment down below your thoughts on this case, along with any others you would like me to look into. It could be my next one.